Hey, this is James Pelton. How you doing here today? Have an AMA, and Ian has apparently been part of my AMAs before because he knows exactly what I'm going to do. Check the hair, make sure the hair's all right. Need a haircut. Irina, if you're watching, she is my hair cutter. Need a haircut. Question of the day. Please hit the like button. Question of the day is what's your favorite action movie? There you go. Thanks, Ian, for helping me out with that. That's just to get some comments flowing. As you'll notice, the badge next to Ian's name also, I did open up a members section, and I'll be doing some members only videos on Sunday. We're going to be going through my top 10 projects, and I'm going to let you guys kind of help me score those. And who knows, maybe PegHub will be one of those. We'll have to wait and see how today goes. But this is the team that we have today, is the PegHub team. PegHub team. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Could you start by just introducing yourself and giving a little bit of your background?
Yeah, for sure, James. Thanks, and great to be here with you. So my name is Rob. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for PegHub.com. We are on a mission to become the world's largest and safest staking platform by 2025. So we know it's a big goal, but we're confident that we've got the roadmap and the team that we need to execute against that, and looking forward to talking that through with you today. Just in terms of a very brief background on me, so I spent 15 years in TradFi. In fact, yesterday was my final day in a senior management role with one of the UK's largest banks. I'm coming fully on board with PegHub. That's how confident I am in our future success. So super excited, and I'll be overseeing day-to-day operations as well as driving the execution of our strategy.
Awesome.
And we've just got Aaron, our CEO, joining as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, congratulations, man, on the job change. That's probably exciting, but also probably nerve-wracking. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a little bit strange, just leaving somewhere that I've been for such a long time. But no, genuinely couldn't be more excited. I've been working really closely, with the team and shaping the strategy and overseeing some of our launches. So yeah, excited to have even more time to be focusing on all that.
And,
awesome.
I mean, I'm really excited too, just, having Rob come from TradFi. It's, they do so many things so right that to have someone that has that kind of experience in a high position in, traditional finances, I think it's going to, I know it's going to bring a wealth of benefits to the entire ecosystem. So really excited about that.
Very cool. Yeah, it's awesome. I love just seeing people move into the space as now this is your home. You're not doing anything outside of it. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right Aaron, after I was just going to say, right after Rob made his decision, I know I read an article that 3 of the top guys from, I think it was JP Morgan, had made the same move from, TradFi right into crypto. So, it's definitely
the future. Yeah, it's more and more people moving over. I mean, we see Dorsey leaving Twitter because he's like, hey, I want to bring crypto to block, or as it's called now. So definitely seeing a lot movement in that direction. Diamond, can you go ahead? I've had Aaron before, so we'll save his intro for last. But Diamond, do you want to introduce yourself and a little bit of your background? And if you're trying to talk, you may be on mute. And maybe while we're waiting for him, Aaron, how about you go while we wait for Diamond?
Sure. So as you know, and many of your viewers probably, I'm Aaron Shames. I'm the CEO and founder of PegHub Ecosystem, which began with Ball Money, the very first Tomb Finance fork, which became quite the popular trend. We've switched our mission statement up quite a bit since last time we spoke. We're now aiming to become the largest crypto staking platform by 2025 globally. Across centralized solutions, decentralized, we are going to be decentralized, but across the board, we plan to be the largest crypto staking platform. And we've got all the items lined up, and we're actually progressing at it faster than anticipated. So really exciting stuff to talk about.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm excited to hear about it. Can you start by, again, just assuming that the people here have never heard of this before, they have no idea what you're doing. Can you start by just giving kind of like a 10,000 foot view of what you guys are doing?
Sure. You mean in terms of what we're doing this moment, or like what our game plan is for, the 1 to 2 years out?
How about like an elevator pitch of what PegHub is kind of in general? Again, just for people who don't have any idea.
Perfect. Yeah. So basically what PegHub is the gateway to what we feel and what we know is the strongest points of all of our other protocols in the ecosystem, which is our blue chip farms. So for example, if you want to, if you're bullish on BNB, we have a pair that's BNB pegged with CZBNB. So basically, the two assets, one is BNB, one is pegged to BNB. So, you have the least impermanent loss compared to any other pairing if you're looking for exposure to BNB. So you get that, pure asset exposure with high yields. And we offer that across many blue chip pairs right now. And we're expanding to 3 other chains, which will be somewhere between 9 and 12 other cryptos that we're going to be offering by the end of the year. I'm very well aware of, obviously the market conditions and, a lot of these seniorage protocols are not doing the hottest right now. And, that's not turning us off in the slightest, because what we're building is going to require these underlying, seniorage protocols in order to fuel the returns that we're going to give for single staking on our longer term vision. So we're building out what we need to have in place to facilitate the ability to actually offer a return on these large inflows that we anticipate having in the near future. So.
Awesome. Could you kind of talk through the whole ecosystem and how they kind of all fit together?
Sure. I guess it's best to probably start with the very beginning, which is Bomb Money, which is actually not one of the protocols listed there, since we've kind of had an evolution of Bomb Money to BitBomb. But, we started off, as I said earlier, the very first Tomb Finance fork. To me, I probably said this before a million times, but, it seemed like Tomb Finance got it right. A lot of people, including myself, were making great money with Tomb Finance. So I decided I had to fork that. Bomb Money, super successful out of the gate. A lot of copycats came, kind of diluted the field a little bit, I guess. But yeah, so essentially what we have is we have these seniorage protocols, which involve peg tokens and share tokens and really a lot of different things that your average investor or your average crypto user either doesn't understand, doesn't want to understand, or tries to understand but gets it wrong and then loses money. There's a lot of problems with just having a bunch of seniorage protocols. So PegHub aims to address that. And we're going to address it even further with our longer term vision. But in the meantime, we have the PegHub site, which explains what we do. It explains the blue chip cryptos we offer. It explains about our PegHub token, which is really interesting token with great tokenomics. But the main thing that PegHub is doing is it's the gateway to get to all of our farms in the easiest way possible. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have another version of this app ready for today, but a couple small snags we hit, so it's not quite ready. We really wanted to demo that here. It looks a lot better. It's a lot easier to use. It's Zap functionality built in, so people can just pick up their BNB with fiat and zap that into whichever vault they want. Huge improvements coming with version 2, which is coming out probably later today or tomorrow. So that's
okay,
PegHub.
Cool. No, I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you explain? Okay, so this is pretty easy to understand here. So this was just on the earnings page. You have these different coins that you can get into, and this is laid out really well. Actually, you can see the APY, which is daily this, monthly this. Can you talk about where the yields come from behind these?
Sure. So I know that these APYs look fairly attractive, but they're actually quite low by our standards. The way that the seniorage protocols work is, let's just use the BNB CZBNB pair because it's pretty straightforward. When CZBNB is higher price than BNB, people that own our share tokens within that protocol, they get rewarded in additional CZBNB to even out the pricing, right? Because when CZBNB is more expensive than BNB, that means we need to inflate the supply. So, we mint new CZBNB, and these share tokens, the stakers of those receive those rewards, which is what drives the price of the share up. And the share is what feeds the yield of all of these farms. So that's kind of the circle around way to get to answer your question.
Yes. No, that's helpful. And if anybody has more questions about that, I've done a lot of videos on seniorage protocols on Tomb forks, and I've walked through them exactly how they work. But this is kind of an easier way to not have to really deal with the seniorage protocol and still get these yields. Is that kind of a good way to look at it?
That's exactly what we were aiming for, right? Like there's so much information at the seniorage sites that is just either overwhelming or people are focusing too much on the wrong things. Like, what's peg at? And, we recommend most people put all of their money or the vast majority of it into these blue chip farms. So whether the boardroom is printing or not because of PEG shouldn't be someone's number one priority when it comes to investing in a blue chip, right? So, we want to take all those complexities away that are part of all of those seniorage protocols. They have to be there for that protocol to actually work itself. People buying the share tokens, for example, need to see what pegs are at and, et cetera, et cetera. But for anyone that just wants to jump into a high quality, pure asset exposure farm, that's what we do at PegHub.
Okay.
And probably just as exciting as probably the PegHub token, but we'll get into that in a sec.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that here in a second. A couple questions it says we're going. Are the yields paid daily or monthly, or does it vary depending on the coin?
Great question. So our actual farms that power these vaults, every block, the rewards are ticking up. But the beauty of these farms or these staking options that you see here is that they actually auto compound. So they auto compound every 2 hours. So essentially, your position is growing every 2 hours, and every time it compounds, your next compound is going to be bigger. So it's basically the wonder of compound interest, especially with the higher APRs, right? So so essentially your rewards are really paid like every couple seconds, but really you don't see them until the compound. So every 2 hours.
Okay, very cool. And then so we have people who are used to like yield farming, and so we're used to impermanent loss. Is there a possibility of impermanent loss using something like this?
There definitely is the possibility of impermanent loss. Especially right now, like as I mentioned earlier, like the seniorage protocols all across of DeFi are, not doing the hottest right now, which again, it doesn't concern us because of what we have coming in the immediate future. And we just need to get these platforms out there. But so typically impermanent loss would be very minimal because the whole system is designed to keep the tokens right near the peg price. So let's say like, in a normal circumstance, going back to my example of CZBNB with BNB, you might see it hover like, 5% over peg, 5% under peg. Like that's a situation that we would expect to see once things stabilize in the near future. So in that situation, impermanent loss would be so negligible. 1 day's returns on the farm would cover the worst case, impermanent loss in that scenario.
Okay. And then Ian had another question. Thanks, Aaron. Sorry for being slow. No, questions are good. The only bad questions are ones not asked. But are these the core preferred coins due to the blue chip status? Will it be expanded or kept focused on these coins here?
Oh, that's a great question. Not slow at all. Ultimately, we want to offer the pairs and the coins for staking that our users want to stake and where we can return the yield. So that all comes down to really demand on the coin. So we use the term blue chip, just like in the stock world, these are the biggest coins, the most well-known coins, the most stable coins. So without it being an actual stable coin, although we do have BUSD. But yeah, no, it's just really whatever there's demand for. Like we've had talk about maybe having like a meme coin type seniorage protocol where, we have Doge and Shiba and, whatever else. And not too into the meme coins. I couldn't really name any more off than those two, but yeah, a lot of people really like them, right? So it doesn't matter what I like. It matters what people like, right? If people want to earn yield on those meme coins, we'll offer it for them, right?
Okay, no, that makes sense. And then is the monthly interest, does it fluctuate wildly or is it fairly stable, those APY numbers?
I'll be 100% honest. They've been fluctuating wildly lately. Once things stabilize, they will still fluctuate quite a bit, but the numbers will just be vastly higher. As the pools grow, they do, the APRs do stabilize. But yeah, I'd say for right now, they're going to fluctuate pretty heavily. And then they will stabilize over time.
Yeah. And I was going to say, you can see by just the TVLs there that those are going to, when the TVLs are that low, then it's going to fluctuate super wildly. Basically, like if you get into that one and you put in $10,000, you've just more than doubled the TVL. So that's going to affect the APY quite a bit.
One thing to keep in mind, though, is that because the share price is low right now, we do have some of the more advanced users that might not be in the auto compounding vaults. They might be in the manual farms. So even though you see the TVL at, around 7K there, the farm could have a lot more in it than that. Right. So.
Okay. Yep. Nope. That makes sense. So do you want to talk about the PHUB token then, and then how that fits into this?
Sure. So that's an idea that I had a couple months ago. where I said, you know what, we've got these seniorage protocols. I got these developer rewards coming to me in the form of share tokens, in the form of peg tokens, when we're over peg, of course. And I said, you know what we're going to do is, because I really like the tokenomics of like the two tokens that really inspired PHUB were the Yearn Finance token and the Beefy Finance token. So the similarities are very limited supply. Ours is actually more limited than theirs. We have only 10,000. That's the cap. 3,500 were locked vesting when this launched. It's been a month or two since then. So what, like, I don't know, 500 maybe have released since the vesting started. So, we still have, just slightly over maybe 6,000 tokens in circulation, and, we're never minting anymore. We can't. So this is a very limited supply token. The most exciting thing though, is that instead of all of those dev rewards going to me, they're now going into a whole system of automation, which intelligently and randomly sells share tokens and feeds into, I got ahead of myself. It sells share tokens and buys PHUB on the open market and uses that to funnel those PHUB into rewards for PHUB stakers. So I think we've already bought back something like 275 PHUB tokens in just 2 months. And the average price is quite a bit higher than what the price is right now. I'd say probably the average buyback price is probably closer to 400. So like that's some pretty serious buybacks for only having a couple protocols right now where the share tokens aren't that high. We're not able to sell peg tokens. So you could just imagine when the share tokens are doing better, once the peg tokens are over peg and able to be sold and fed into PHUB buybacks, I don't want to sound like I'm exaggerating, but like $50,000 to $100,000 a day in buybacks is not out of the question, which, would just drive the price bonkers.
Okay, very cool. And then, so somebody had a question about peg. You mentioned not worrying about boardrooms printing. Do you want to talk about maybe the condition of the pegs in your protocols and kind of your thoughts on those and when you think they might come back, and talk through that a little bit?
100%. This is definitely a topic we don't want to avoid. This is something we want to, directly address. So very happy to. I'll be honest, the Snowpeg launch did not go as well as I had planned. We saw how well CZ pegs launched. I expected it to be something similar to that, but it seems like we had a lot of participation from people that just wanted to farm the Genesis and just, dump all their tokens afterwards. So that didn't go as planned, but we have plans for our next 3 launches and, over the course of the rest of the year to prevent that kind of situation. But having said all that, I'm not worried at all about the pegs for numerous reasons. For one, it takes very, very, very little money to get all of our tokens to peg, like probably something less than $500,000, like peanuts in the world of DeFi and crypto. Like, Rob, is that number somewhat realistic?
Yeah, so I've not remodeled it for a couple of days, but about 500,000 last time I modeled it less than a week ago. And you'll maybe touch on this, Aaron, but we're in discussions with a few large investors as well. So it's not going to take a huge amount to get us back up to peg, and then we know that the share prices will just absolutely fly.
Yeah. So, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to just say, how do you think through, because I know it's not always best to just put in capital to get back to peg because you got below peg from people selling. So how do you think through how much you want to put in to get peg back up? And I don't know, how do you think through some of that stuff? Okay.
So, I have put a ton of money pushing pegs up, a ton, like since I launched like the very first protocol, Bomb Money. It's not the best thing to do. I'll tell you right now. I think there is the time and the place to do buybacks. I think it should probably come from protocol funds, not from my personal funds. So I think that was a little bit of a mistake. I'll be honest. But having said that, the way that this works is there's demand for people to farm. And I truly believe that when sentiment changes in the crypto markets, or even before sentiment changes, if we can express the value in our farms, the advantages of it being almost like single staking, in that, you get basically 100% asset exposure, but we give higher returns than you get single staking anywhere. So it's, when we have the next edition of our app released in the next day or two, we're going to really push marketing hard on that. And we're going to try and target users that, before we could only target, seniorage protocol professionals, tomb fork veterans, right? We're really expanding that to being able to target anybody. And that's, it's something that this is going to be a big step in that direction, but we have numerous further steps planned in that direction in the near future as well.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, that is education's a huge barrier to entry for these protocols. And so I do like how easy it is just to hop in. So I loved your BTC staking when it first came out too. I was like, oh, this is so even though I know it's doing just the same thing that I'm doing in the Seigniorage protocol, just wrapping it that way, it just is, I don't know, it's nicer for me as a user. And definitely nicer for people who don't know what Seigniorage protocols are. So,
that's some amazing feedback though, because that's our longer term plan is going to work very similar to what you just described as what you really liked about, the BTC single stake, right? Like just the simplicity of it and the, you just deposit your BTC, you see the stats there. It's really straightforward, right? And that's, really in line with what we got lined up for the future, but with a lot more than just BTC.
Okay, very cool. And kind of a specific question here as we were going here. If we stake Cosmo with you, are we still entitled to the network airdrops?
Great question. And I'm not too well versed on this, but I can fairly confidently say no. I would assume that those would just go to, Cosmo holders on the native Cosmos chain. On BNB chain, we're using a wrapped version of Cosmo. So, the person that would probably receive those Cosmo airdrops would be the, whatever contract or address is holding those Cosmo that were bridged onto BSC, right? Like I'm sure it's just going to native token holders unless, yeah. I mean, I could be wrong there. There's a chance that they have something else worked out and they're just, going to airdrop to other chains, but yeah.
Okay. Nope, that makes sense. And then again, so when I didn't know much about, I thought BR prints were critical, but they're not. Throw your LP in the farms and farm away. Do you want to talk about how important the boardroom printing is? Because yeah, some people think that these Seigniorage protocols are useless unless you're printing. Do you want to talk through that?
It's been a funny journey that we've been on. It's Bomb Money being the first Tomb Finance fork. We had so many people in the community that were just so bullish on everything Bomb Money that there was such buy pressure on B share that Bomb got left in the dust, right? Everybody's thinking, oh, B share is the moon token. It's going to 10 grand. It's going to 20 grand, right? So it's like everybody would have rather taken that B share shot than doing that stable, safe Bomb BTCB farm, right? And that's, I think that was actually a big reason why we dropped Peg and, why we had a hard time recovering it so many times, right? Just because people were so bullish on the protocol. They bought the moon coin, right? The coin that's going to go to 10 grand when things are, in great shape. So, but yeah, no, for that comment, yeah, definitely the farms, 80% on the farms, at least, I'd say even 100 for most people.
Yep. Totally agree. Ian says, as someone new, James Pelton's point on barrier to entry is key. I'm here learning, but making it simple lets me get involved while I learn. That's one of the most common questions I get when I do a video on EMP or Grape or Bomb.money is I don't understand what's going on. So this definitely helps clear that up.
I'm loving this AMA. Just like see that even that question relates to a deep plan we have for something that we're doing in the near future, just in terms of the ease of use and like a getting started guide. Like, man, the feedback is amazing.
Yeah, customer feedback is like most valuable thing in the world. So let's go ahead and talk about what is on the roadmap. So I see your roadmap page here. Do you want to talk through what's on the roadmap?
I think Rob was about to say something and I cut him off there.
No, that's okay. I was just going to build on the points you guys were making and, just really emphasize that our strategy, and James, there's a link to it just on that page, really goes into detail about the fact that our primary focus is breaking down the barriers to entry for users who are either new to crypto or haven't even stumbled into the world of crypto yet. So we really want to expand into new target markets beyond the sort of, crypto and DeFi natives that we know that we're catering for at the moment, and clearly will continue to cater for them. But we really want to help those who, are either just using kexes or perhaps haven't even stepped into the world of crypto yet. So that's really what our strategy centers around, and we've given a lot of thought to how we're going to achieve that.
Very cool. Yep. And I posted a link to this strategy. I was going to walk through it, but it's pretty lengthy. So that is a detailed strategy. So I put a link to that. You can go kind of read through that. Is there some things you want to highlight here on the roadmap and maybe in the strategy?
Probably the strategy. Rob, did you want to?
Yeah, so I'll happily give a bit of a canter through of the strategy. I mean, the first thing I'd probably say is that most crypto, and DeFi protocols don't have anything half as comprehensive as this. And really, we spent, weeks in sort of intensive sessions building this out. And, the sort of approach we took was, well, let's start with really comprehensive situation analysis where we look at our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, but also consider, what's going on in the external environment, both now and, what we think we're going to see in the future as well. And then from there, it's a case of building out, okay, well, how do we capitalize on our own strengths and, how do we, mitigate our weaknesses, and how do we likewise capitalize on the opportunities that are out there. So really the headline is we defined that we, have a mission, as we were talking about at the beginning, to become the #1 crypto staking platform in the world by 2025. So that's what everything is moving us towards. To get us there, we will expand into new markets. Our primary focus will be on ease of use to get us there. And in terms of some of the roadmap items, so first of all, we'll be significantly expanding our offering. So throughout the remainder of this year, it'll be the case that we have 3 new Seniorage protocol launches, so onto 3 new chains. That helps us reach new markets because, well, many of us are comfortable navigating different chains. Many people have their one favorite and don't really stray from it. It's also the case that for those protocol launches, those who've bought a Bomb Evolution NFT will be in great position to take advantage of the lucrative Genesis farms, which is basically in the first 24 hours of protocol launch. It's the initial distribution of tokens. And then beyond those protocol launches, I mean, there'll be many more into next year as we keep on expanding our offering. We'll also be launching a decentralized lending platform that will allow leveraged yield farming, which, for those of us who are degens, it will, do a good job of catering for us. But then the sort of ultimate milestone on our roadmap for Q3 next year is the launch of a fully decentralized, transparent, single staking platform. And our objective there is truly to rival the top kexes. And the idea being that we provide, a brilliant user experience, we provide unparalleled returns, but actually, everything is fully transparent. You can verify your holdings on the blockchain. So it's almost, the good parts of Celsius, but none of the dodgy stuff going on in the background, and you can actually validate that yourself.
Okay, no, very awesome. And we do have some few questions that popped up kind of about this. I wanted to bring up this one. Can you talk about what the risks are? So you mentioned Celsius, and some people are kind of hesitant to, give up custodianship of their Bitcoin or something like that. Can you talk about what potential risks are? Because we assume that there's some risk that goes along with the APYs that you're getting. Can you talk through that a little bit?
Sure. So, I mean, the risk is that the pegs drop, right? So if the peg drops, the value of the LP drops. As pretty much all seniorage protocols right now are struggling a little bit. So, with the peg already where it's at, there's a lot more potential upside than there is downside on the peg. So that, the risk is that the peg could continue to drop, which would make your LP, lose value. But with everything that we have planned, that'd be not financial advice, but great time the dollar cost average in for a little bit more for when it, when some of these big ticket items arrive and, a lot of inflows start to occur. But just to answer this question directly, So I'm not sure if you're talking about kind of the private investors or the institutional investors that Rob mentioned, or if you mean like retail investors. But 15% APY is not going to stick around for long. It's just that's our because bomb money was BTCB only or like Bitcoin only. A lot of our community is Bitcoin lovers, so that farm has a lot more funds in it than the other farms. So even though it is getting more rewards than the other farms, the APY is fairly low right now. But again, all it takes is a little bit of positive momentum on those pegs, and people will be snapping up those shares, and that APY could be 10 times that in a matter of a day or two. So again, we're not worried. I mean, we'd obviously love the numbers to be better right now. Don't get me wrong. Like, we'd love nothing more than to be over peg and have our APYs all in the hundreds of percent per year. But it's just not really a reality in this market, in these market conditions. So we're building everything that we need to have in place so that even, I think with what we're building, we don't even really need a bull market in order to, for things to really take off. So that's all we can really focus on is building, and, prices are going to do what they do. APYs are going to do what they do until we're done. And yeah, I'm not sure what else I could say about that.
Yep. No, I think that's good. The DB Tech wants to know, is the whole team doxed? Or I at least know Rob and Aaron are. What's the doxing situation?
So yeah, me and Rob are both doxed. I know a lot of our other team members are going to be doxing soon.
Hey guys, it's Marku here. Joined a little bit late, but I'm the head of marketing for PegHub, and so I've got about 15 years experience in digital marketing for Fortune 500 companies. So I'm still working on that, and I'm just trying to sort it out with the employer as to how this will all work out. But I'm very a few weeks away. I'm pretty sure I'll be full-time PegHub and fully committed to the future, because what we're working on here, as Aaron said, like this is groundbreaking. So I'm I'm not concerned at all, and yeah, I'll be doxed within a few weeks.
Well, and also you don't have a choice because we're doing the Toronto event.
Well, and that's actually a good point. Yeah, Aaron and I will be live at November 8th and 9th at the Web3 and blockchain event in Toronto. So you guys can come and meet me there.
So if you didn't want to dox, too bad.
Yeah, it's hard to stay undoxed in person. You have to come with like a ski mask on or something like that.
That might not go over well.
I'll be like Mouse. I'll have my own crypto mask.
There you go.
There you go.
What about you, Diamond? We didn't actually do introduction for you also.
Yeah, sorry, I had a really inopportune moment where I had to restart my computer.
It happens.
So I'm Diamond, head of community management. I've been in customer service and sales for about 10 years. I switched over to IT world maybe 5 years ago, and I have been leading the community. But also taking on different roles, helping with development. So I'm kind of the jack of all trades for the team. But I too also have another job, kind of like Marku, where I still have to figure that part out. I don't necessarily want to not dox myself. It just gets a little complicated with events like these in the middle of the day, having to explain that. Sometimes I still haven't figured that part out yet.
Yeah, I mean, why do employers have problems with, at middle of the day doing interviews with other projects? What's the problem? I don't see it. No, that makes total sense. And I think as long as some of the team is doxed, I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. But yeah, each person's in their own personal situation, so definitely get that.
Before I move on, I just want to say, like, just on that marketing part, I feel like I'm able to contribute a ton as with my history in digital marketing, because all of my marketing experience is in the traditional sense. So with Fortune 500, we've got like 3 levels of legal approval, and the target demographic would never even think of doing anything in crypto, right? And so me being able to communicate to those people and understand the channels to get those, combined with what we're building in PegHub and making the user experience simple and guiding those people into crypto, that I think is going to be very powerful. So we're really excited for our app launch and to really start pushing hard on marketing towards that demographic.
Very cool. So I have a question. This could probably be its own video, but I get asked this a lot, and so I just want to ask it to you guys, as you're the Senior Ridge Protocol experts. So when we talk about like yield farming, I think it's pretty clear to people like where the money's coming from is people are making swaps. And so you're getting, that trading fee. I think with seniorage protocols, it's a little harder for people to wrap their minds around like, where is the yield coming from? So just how would you kind of help someone think through that? Or how would you explain that to someone? I'll leave it to you guys being the experts. This is why I love AMAs, by the way, is I can just throw out these grenade questions and then I can just hit mute and see you guys come up with something.
You're on mute, Aaron.
You're on mute, Aaron.
Talking to myself. All right. Great question. So basically what you first described with the trading fees, I got this from when I was reading Sushi Swap's documentation, but they refer to yield farming typically as like a double stack or a triple stack yield farm. So the first one that you described was like kind of your first stack, which is, if you're in an LP, you're earning trading fees on that LP. So your LP is growing, right? So it's like, just to use as an example, I don't know, BUSD, CZBUSD. When that, LP started, it was 100 BUSD, 100 CZBUSD. That made one LP unit. If you look now, it's probably something like 1.1 or 110 on one side and 110 on the other side if it was at PEG, right? So that LP's gained, went from 200 total units at PEG to 220, right? Something along those lines. That's like stack one. Everybody gets that. That's in an LP, basically, because that's, what DEXs do to incentivize LPs providers, or that's one of the things that they do. I think what most people are thinking about when they think yield farming is actually taking that LP into... My cats are breaking the house.
Okay, yeah. Everything okay there? We can take a break if you need to.
They're just mad I locked them in the room. So the second form is when you would deposit that LP token, which is what our vaults are doing, right? Our vaults are doing that automatically for you, or the same thing can happen if you just deposit manually into our farms. So we're further incentivizing, because obviously we're not the DEX here, so we're not getting those trading fees for one, and they're pretty insignificant compared to what most actual farms pay, where you have to actually deposit crypto and then you receive back some kind of, reward token. And again, when you use our auto compounding vaults, this all happens behind the scenes. Those reward tokens end up getting used every 2 hours to grow your position. So that is the second stack of yield farming, which is, again, did I explain that well enough? You deposit your token and
yeah.
Now Sushi Swap had an example of the third stack, but I forget exactly what that was. I think there was something, I think it had something to do with something else that they were offering, but typically it's those two stacks. So,
okay. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And then a couple more questions from the audience. You mentioned this, so maybe we could get a little bit more details, but the blue chip staking for borrowing /loan. You want to talk through what you're planning with that?
So NFT blue chip. So, I mean, I guess that's the Bored Apes and, that type of NFT. Great question and an interesting one. I think if there was no competition in the market for that, it'd probably be worth tackling. We want to do one thing and be the best in the world at it, and then we'll start expanding to do other things and be the best of the world at those things. The first thing we're going to tackle is staking crypto. NFT. I don't even know what they're...
Maybe when we get a break here, you should go check that out. That sounds kind of ominous.
Yeah, but I do really like some of the platforms that let you stake NFTs and then borrow against it. I'm actually involved in one of them right now. Like I have a Bored Ape and I just wanted to borrow some ETH against it. So I'm actually doing that right now. I think it's really cool. But yeah, in terms of what we're going to be doing, yeah, we really want to, execute extremely well on what our current plan is. So who knows what the future holds, or if we pivot for whatever reason, anything's possible. But unless something drastic happens, we're just gonna be laser focused on becoming the biggest staking platform globally.
Okay. And again, just want to bring up all questions from the audience, but what would you say to gain confidence of people who are concerned about the sustainability? I think maybe means of like seniorage protocols in general. What would you kind of say to calm people down and just give them confidence going forward?
Well, the question seems to focus around sustainability because of auto compounding. Now, I think I know where the question's coming from, because the thing that's so cool about seniorage protocols is you kind of have a loop that kind of, when things are healthy, it keeps the values of everything up, right? So if you have people that want to farm to earn a high APR or APY, then that's going to keep your tokens above peg, which then puts a lot of buy pressure on the share token, which then allows auto compounding to sell down the share token without impacting the price negatively too much. Or sometimes it doesn't even impact it negatively at all if there's enough buy pressure. But I think the question's coming from that, typically your reward token, typically they trend towards zero. And I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the seniorage protocols, it's looking that way for shares right now, but that's, but we actually have a plan in place to make them skyrocket. But, when DEXs are just printing, they just print however many tokens per hour, per minute, or whatever they do. They trend towards zero because there's just not enough use cases. People just use it to farm, the yield farm, and they sell it for either compounding or take their profit in it, right? And there's not much purpose to buy it typically other than to perhaps yield farm with it, right? Because that's usually the DEX wants to make that their highest paying farm to put some buy pressure on their token, right? So I think seniorage protocols are in a bit of a different, situation in terms of that.
Yeah, I was just going to add one point to that. I mean, seniorage protocols are great, and as we've talked about, our method for generating yields. But part of the reason that we will be focusing so heavily on PegHub beyond just providing the simplest experiences, we know that those who go into the auto vaults tend to enter and stay and just watch their deposits grow, which actually helps us in terms of maintaining protocol health. Whereas those who tend to delve into the seniorage protocols, often and probably inadvertently act in a way that actually, damages the protocol's health. So our strategy and our marketing really acknowledges that and focuses on driving investors to the way that we know helps overall health.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point because when people are doing the seniorage protocols themselves, sometimes they do things that are good for the protocol. Sometimes they do things that are not good. But if you have something like PegHub where you're kind of wrapping the whole thing, you can kind of control it and say, hey, we're only going to let you do what we need for the protocol. So that's which is actually better for everyone in the protocol. I think people don't realize when they're hurting the protocol, they're hurting themselves, is what sometimes people don't realize. So that's very cool. Very cool idea.
And we still have the Moon token there too, right? We still have PHUB. We all have very high, aspirations for what the PHUB price is going to get to with its limited supply and how big those daily buybacks can hit. So,
Yeah. One thing I really like, because I'm talking with a bunch of the different seniorage protocols, and I just love that each of them are kind of going a different direction, and like how they're kind of what they're aiming at and what they're trying to do. And so it's just really fascinating to me. And I love just seeing teams come up with plans and then go execute the plans. I think that's really cool.
Definitely.
Do you have any potential partnerships, collabs with other protocols to help with your expansion?
So we have so many expansions planned that I'm not sure which one you're referring to. But I'll go over one of them. So, one of the next 3 chains that we're going to launch on is going to be Ethereum. Almost for sure. We're going to put it up to vote like we always do, but I think Ethereum is going to win at least one of those votes. I have big plans to contact either myself or someone on the team is going to contact all the big protocols there and say, hey, Uniswap, you want us to peg to you? We're not going to ask much in return, maybe a link from their website or some promotional something on their Twitter. And, we'll peg to them and we'll give them an additional utility for their token, additional buy pressure on their token. And, it's all wins for these, multi-billion-dollar protocols. If we contact enough of them, we'll get 2 or 3 or maybe 4 that say yes. And, the kind of interest in dollars that would bring into the protocol, I mean, that Ethereum fork alone would be doing $100,000 of buybacks a day. I mean, keep in mind, it only takes a $10,000 share token to do $100,000 of buybacks without even counting peg tokens.
Yeah.
And that's with one protocol. We're going to have 7.
Yeah, very true. And then Ian says, observation, this app is so much cleaner than Binance, which confuses me. I need a map to find my way around Binance staking setup. Less is more, except when it comes to yield. So yeah, Ian, thank you for that observation.
I like Ian.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Ian's a regular. He's a good guy for sure.
What's funny? We were just talking about this right before we jumped on the AMA, just about how Binance and like my first time going into Binance and how it was complicated, but then I started to actually really love it because of how feature packed it was. But even for someone like me that was used to the financial markets and navigating options and crazy stuff like that, someone that hadn't dealt with like a more advanced crypto exchange and having to transfer funds between all these different accounts that hold the same asset. And yeah, it was a little bit confusing at first. And,
yeah,
just wait till Ian sees version 2 of this. It's like, this is confusing as all hell compared to version 2. It's going to be like 1 or 2 clicks for literally anything you need to do. So we can't wait to release that.
Yeah. Make sure to shoot me a message when you do switch over, and I'll at least get a tweet out or something saying, hey, they talked about a new design and here it is. And we'll look at that.
Maybe a YouTube short.
You're a genius, Aaron. I like it. Yeah, we'll do that. A YouTube short. That's a great idea. All right. Well, this is very cool. I'm very excited. I think this is good. I think my audience really likes this. So for people who want to get involved, what's the best way to get involved now? And what's the best way to get involved if you're anticipating future growth and you want to, be along for that ride of the growth also?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd say the safest way would be to just, jump into any of these farms, whichever, crypto that you feel the most confident about. If you want to lean towards safety, you'd probably go towards the BUSD option, or like, one of the bigger cryptos there, like BTCB. I feel that PHUB at this price is just an absolute steal. We were almost at $1,000 earlier, like a month ago. PHUB is going to absolutely explode once we get a little bit healthier on the protocols and we get a couple more of these launches under our belt. So that's kind of the moonshot that I'd actually say is very safe for its potential. Like, I mean, if you just run the math on it, like this token can hit $100,000 and it's at under 200 right now. Like it doesn't take very many buybacks for that kind of numbers to, become reality.
Yeah. So for now, you can just get involved in any of the farms. And then if you're really looking for, hey, if PegHub really takes off, having this PHUB token is probably your best exposure to that. Is that a good way to sum it up?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think so, but it's also good to have a variety, which could lead to Mark, who might have something else to add in a moment. But having a little bit in all of these farms, auto compounding can be really powerful. We're in a low point in the market. Once you have auto compounding for a year or two and the markets start picking up, it's insane how high some of these farms will go. So a little bit in BTC, like we were saying earlier, we do call them blue chips. A lot of these are really, the top 10, top 15 coins right now. So, very easy choices. And we are expanding to many more.
And then it's just as easy. I just deposit in BNB and then it takes over after that. Is that all I need to do?
Yep.
Wow.
Although right now, just because we weren't able to get the new version ready in time, for BNB, you'd only have the options where their BNB is part of the pair. So there would actually only just be that one for right now. But later today or tomorrow, when we launch version 2, you will be able to get into any of the vaults with BNB.
Oh, okay. Very cool. So you wouldn't have to buy ADA.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we could expand those options in the future too, to, like, for example, use BTCB to get into anything, or,
yeah.
Stuff like that.
Very cool. Yeah, that is a super easy way for people to get in. And then this purchase crypto, people can do it through this as well.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So there's how you can get involved. So if you're in the audience and you want to really get into this, hop in any of these farms, or like you said, kind of get into a few of them. Like BNB, to me, this looks attractive. I mean, there's not a lot of TVL, so this could go down, but BNB, I expect, is going to go up long term. So if you can get 92% APY and just kind of let it sit there for a while, like that's not a bad deal, in my opinion.
Yep. Well, I mean, I have 100% faith in, the health that these protocols are going to have in the, next couple months. So, I mean, if you have half the faith that I have, I mean, just the fact that the PEG's regaining and the APR is picking up with the share price appreciation, like, that BNB farm is it's going to explode. Right. So.
Okay. And then what other specific events on the roadmap do you expect will help PEG?
I mean, what helps Peg is people getting into the farms, right? And that's everything that we're doing is focusing on that.
Showcasing the better parts of all our seniorage protocols in one simple to use app, catering to a lot of future crypto noobs, people that have heard about the crypto space, DeFi, and want to get involved. Sometimes there is a big barrier, and we're trying to break those barriers down to get into the farms, to directly help out Pegs.
Okay, cool. And then we were wanting to talk about, let's see, the WinTheWallet. You want to talk about this a little bit? Let me pull it up on the screen.
Yeah.
WinTheWallet. Who wants to talk about this?
Yeah, I'll take this one. This is a very exciting contest. We're right about to launch either today or tomorrow, and it's exactly what Diamond was talking about, splitting up your investments. So we've put 100 USD into each of our farms and a PegHub token. So it's about $1,500 worth of USD value. And so this is in a wallet, and it's just going to be auto compounding for the next year. That's the goal, and seeing what's going to happen to that wallet. And the exciting part is that anybody can come in and you can guess what the value is going to be. This is a draft website. We're going to have a much better user experience, but we're launching this tomorrow. But yeah, and you can guess what you think the value of the wallet's going to be in 1 year. And whoever's closest wins the contents of the wallet. So it's a pretty cool contest. But also, there's also monthly guesses. So you can guess for the end of next month, and you'll get one PHUB token for whoever's closest each month. So it's a really interesting way for people to be able to track, what would $1,500 on September 15th, 2022, what's that going to get me? Let's say we're in December or March next year. And you could see in 4 months and 6 months how much this wallet can grow. And the best part is somebody's actually going to win the contents of the wallet. So we're excited about this contest.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, you guys have a lot going on. I'm excited to see the new website. I actually think this one's kind of cool. I like it, but so I'm excited to see what the new one looks like. If it's better than that.
Small correction to that competition. It's actually 1,300 instead of 1,500 because there was. I want to do all our blue chip farms. So actually, I'll put a link to the bank just so that we could. Although some of our farms aren't shown on the bank yet, but basically I left out 2 of the farms that weren't blue chip. So it's actually 13 of them, not 15 of them, at $100 each. So it's 1,300. But
okay, very cool. And then will your Avax options be available on the same site? You're doing some Avax options?
Yep, we've launched no pegged on Avax, and we're hoping to have that ready for this AMA, but probably later today or tomorrow, I'd say. They'll be available on the PegHub site.
Okay, very cool. Sounds like it's gonna be a busy day today. A lot of stuff happening. So yeah, I'd love to do a YouTube short update. Can you ask the team about the plans for Bitcoin single stake and transition?
The Bitcoin single stake has already been transitioned over to the new pairs. So yeah, that's already done.
Okay, very cool. And he mentioned that he might have lost money. Maybe reach out to them in their Telegram or Discord. And by the way, if you have other questions, you have specific questions to your situation, this is maybe not like the best avenue for us to do that, but I'll post a link to the Telegram and the Discord, and definitely hop in there. The team or someone from the community would be happy to answer, specific questions to your situation. So here's a link to the Discord I'll post in the comments, and here's the link to the Telegram. But yeah, feel free to ask questions in there.
I really don't mind though to give a generic answer to that though, because there's really no questions that we shy away from. We have nothing to hide. So it's unlike your traditional BTC single stake. The BTC is actually put into our pair, which at the time was BOM and BTCB. So depending on what Peg did, and obviously with, the Terra Luna collapse and, us having the worst quarter in crypto history in a decade, obviously that pair didn't fare that well. It, fared worse than Bitcoin did. So somebody that deposited a Bitcoin when we were at Peg is potentially withdrawing less than a Bitcoin now, even though they've gained a bunch of yield. So that's not an answer specific to him, but that's, generic that, it is possible through that BTC single staking that if the timing's just wrong, you could get out less than you put in, which is all explained in the documentation.
Yeah. Depending on the timing. Yeah, you're right. Because I was going to say I put in to the BTC single staking, and I think mine's doing fine. So And I think I did that in May or something like that. So it was before it was after the big crash. But so it probably depends on timing, like you said.
Yeah, I would suggest anyone that is watching that is single staking. Peg is slightly low right now. I would not suggest pulling out right now because you get value based on the LP value right when you hit withdraw. So, I mean, if you need the money, do whatever you got to do, but it's probably not the best time to withdraw right now.
Yeah. Okay. And then maybe one last question here, and then I'll see if you guys have anything else you want to talk about. But what are your marketing plans to get newbies in once the new site is up?
Well, yeah, like we've got a ton of marketing plans that can literally be executed only once this new site is up. Because as we were saying, the entire plan is for, to target those people. And that's the reason PegHub's there. Being able to get people to come to the site that don't know anything about crypto and getting those people to invest within 10 minutes. So we've got the new app coming out, and we've got a series of 3 videos that each are under 2 minutes. So if you like literally follow from opening up Google Chrome and never having MetaMask or browse or like a wallet or anything, from that step to actually getting into our auto vaults should be under 10 minutes and maybe 3 or 4 steps that you're following along with videos. So the fact that we can do that enables us to target these demographics, and we're going heavy as soon as that's ready. We've got, we're going to go into a more traditional media where people follow stocks and banking things. Like they get their info on like Yahoo Finance, things like that. We're going to start advertising in places like that to try and convert those people that are just getting into crypto, just dipping their toe. They're kind of worried about it, and showing them the easy experience that PegHub offers, where you can also get the high yields that they've never heard of from, their traditional investments. And then additionally, Aaron's already mentioned the event we're going to be at in Toronto. That's going to be a big push for us, where we're going to be showcasing all of our investments there as well, all of our opportunities there. So yeah, we've got a ton planned, and we just can't wait to start executing on it.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I'm excited to be part of your journey and to help get your vision across to people and kind of just show what you're doing. So let me know how I can help with that. Definitely appreciate it. And Ian says, if you need help, I know this guy called James who could help with simple user guides. New people tend to enjoy learning with him. So yeah, I'm definitely.
I could see why.
If it's me, or unless Ian, another James, that could be also. I don't want to be presumptuous. But yeah, no, definitely cool stuff you have going on. Well, any final words that you guys have, or things we didn't hit or touch on as we kind of wrap up here?
We have a lot that's very close. That's happening a lot faster than we thought it was going to be happening. I'm on 3 days without sleep. That's part of the reason. But yeah, we will have some stuff to show you very soon.
Okay, Aaron,
let me drop a tiny bit of alpha, tiny bit.
Yeah,
we're just waiting to get an app approved in the app stores.
Okay. Ooh, that is a little tiny bit of alpha. Very cool. And Aaron, you strike me as the kind of guy who always has stuff going on and never sleeps very much. Am I reading you correctly?
I came up with 4 genius ideas last night alone. Yep.
Yeah, you seem like the type of guy who's laying in bed trying to sleep, maybe, and things come. You try to go on a walk to clear your head, and then all these ideas.
Oh, I got to run back. Yeah,
you got to run back.
It's funny for me joining this team where I normally work, and they'll be like, okay, so we've got a project for you. We need something in 10 to 12 months and see what you can deliver. And then here it's like, okay, so 4 hours from now, we need to see what we're getting. I'm like, holy.
Definitely fast moving for sure. Well, awesome, guys. I want to thank first the audience. I appreciate you guys showing up each and every day. I say it every day. I wish I had more ways to say it. But again, I can't do anything unless you guys are here to watch it. No one wants to just do an AMA with me. So appreciate you guys. Please hit like on your way out. And then, yeah, PegHub team, thank you guys for hopping on and for talking through your vision, and just keep building and let me know what I can do to kind of help along the way.
All right. Will do.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, very welcome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest.